Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Environment Sustainability Committee meeting number 1 of 2022 on today, the 10th of February. I check Council's attendance and have all committee members in attendance. I'd like to commence with acknowledgement of country. Ipswich City Council respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners as custodians of the land upon which we meet. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging, as the keepers of the traditions, cultures and stories of a proud people. Do we have any declarations of interest in matters on the agenda? No? We have no business outstanding. We'll move to confirmation of minutes, being the confirmation of minutes of the Environment and Sustainability Committee meeting number 11 of 2021 on the 1st of December 2021. Do I have a mover? Councillor Fechner, thank you. Seconder? Mayor Harding. The recommendation is that the minutes of the Environment Sustainability Committee held on the 1st of December 2021 be confirmed. Is there any discussion with regards to those minutes? No? Then I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Unanimous and carried. Item 2 of Officers' Reports is Aggressive Native Bird Program Update. This is a report providing an update on Council's Aggressive Native Bird Program. The program experienced high volumes of requests in 2021, and the successful delivery of the program resulted in positive community safety outcomes by means of education and awareness communications and the relocation of aggressive birds in sensitive and vulnerable locations. Does any member of committee wish to ask questions of the council officer? No? Do I have a mover? Councillor Fechner, seconder. Mayor Harding. The recommendation is that the report be received and the contents noted. I'll open the matter for discussion.
Yeah, just through you, Chair, I want to highlight how important this piece of work is, and I also love the educational leaning that it takes as well. It's not just about council going in and removing aggressive birds, it's about informing the community when they can potentially avoid them. You know, just simple signs being put up have made real differences across the LGA, which has been awesome. And, you know, this comes on the back of that tragedy last year where that woman lost her child. So I think that, you know, it's pretty important timing to show that we are actually taking steps to ensure the safety of our residents. And it's a great report. I love the educational spin. Yes,
I concur as well. It's more about the education of humans interacting in the natural environment where these birds live. Any further comment?
I guess the only other comment, Chair, noting the education comments, but the number of, in figure 3, the number of service request numbers and how much they have increased. So it is obviously a growing issue for us, whether it's because we have a higher population or there's a great awareness or not. But yeah, it's good to have that evidence there as well.
Yes. Anything further? In that case, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Unanimous and carried. Item 3, pardon me, is updates to the Ipswich EnviroPlan program and levy policy. This is a report concerning recommendation 4 from the Environment Conservation Strategies and Compliance Audit that EnviroPlan policy be amended to the extent that it is clear that the EnviroPlan funds are accounted within Council's general ledger through accounts that are specifically identified for the EnviroPlan. In order to action this recommendation, alternative wording is presented below, which more accurately reflects the practice whilst trying to maintain the intent of the statement's purpose. In this regard, the following change is proposed. All revenue raised through the levy is accounted for separately from Council's general revenue and is not at any time available for expenditure as general revenue. Updated to, all revenue raised through the levy is placed into Council's general revenue and is accounted for in a clear and transparent way to ensure it is used for an EnviroPlan project and program spending only. All revenue collected, including any revenue raised through approved levy business activities, is held and accounted for separately from Council's general revenue. Levy revenue should not be available at any time for expenditure as general revenue. Being updated to all revenue collected, including any revenue raised through approved environment levy business activities, is held in Council's general revenue but accounted for separately, and levy revenue should not be available at any time for expenditure on items which fall outside the purpose, principles and intent of this policy. The recommendation is in two parts. A, that the current policy titled Ipswich EnviroPlan Program and Levy Policy, as outlined in Attachment 1, be repealed, and B, that the draft policy titled Ipswich EnviroPlan Program and Levy Policy, as outlined in Attachment 3, be adopted. Does any member of committee wish to ask any questions of Councillor Officer Mayor Harding?
If I may speak to the CFO?
Yes, I'll call forward the CFO.
Good afternoon, Chair, Mayor and Councillors. Jeff Keats, Acting General Manager, Corporate Services.
Thank you. Through the Chair. CFO, thank you. I mean, every time the environment plan money through our budget process, it's always been off to us as a separate amount.
Yes.
What the cumulative value has been.
Yes.
But I am curious to know, has the money ever been used for anything other than
No.
EnviroPlan?
No.
Is that never in its 25-year history?
No, my understanding is no.
Okay.
No, it hasn't been. It's just tightening up the wording from the audit recommendations
Absolutely.
from the...
Yep. Thank you.
Any further questions? No? Thank you, Mr. Cage. Do we have a mover of the motion? Mayor Harding, seconder. Councillor Fechner. I open the matter for discussion. No? I'll just add that, yes, in terms of just doing it in a transparent and clear way so that the community, who are, in the most part, very supportive of Ipswich EnviroPlan, confident that those funds are allocated accordingly. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? It's unanimous and carried. Item 4 is the Ipswich Integrated Catchment Plan. This is a report concerning the Ipswich Integrated Catchment Plan. It is the culmination of over 2.5 years of work across multiple departments and is the most detailed and comprehensive flood study ever undertaken by Council. The plan is intended to ensure the Ipswich community is ready, informed and resilient ahead of the next flood event. The IICP attempts to look at flooding and flood risk through the lens of Council's roles within catchment management and community impacts. The outcome of the plan is in-depth and detailed technical evidence report supporting 6 chapters of work across land use and planning, physical mitigation, community awareness and resilience, emergency management, property-specific actions, current and future flood risk. Each chapter is connected and yet each is focused on addressing a different aspect of floodplain management. It is presently a national exemplar for integrated planning and generating interest from other regional, state and industries. The IICP includes an actions list investment strategy with, as it states here, 72 recommendations. The IICP was scoped and began prior to the appointment of the new council. However, councillor and community engagement has been significant and ongoing. Most recently, the IICP was presented to councillors at a briefing on the 7th of September. Subsequently, further supplementary information was supplied in response to that session. Councillors, I have been informed since that there needs to be a slight amendment with regards to that, being the executive summary, and that it is identified that the 72 recommendations is actually 68. So I would request that in relation to item 4 in the executive summary be amended to change the wording. The IICP includes an actions list investment strategy with 72 recommendations to the IICP includes an actions list investment strategy with 68 recommendations. I'll just confirm that that's recorded accurately. Does any member of committee wish to ask a council officer any questions? Mayor Harding? I'll ask the appropriate council officer to come forward.
Thank you, Chair, Mayor, Councillors. Philip Smith here, Natural Environment and Land Manager for Infrastructure and Environment Department.
Thank you, Mr Smith. And thank you for this study. I think, and briefing us previously, we've gone into a great deal of detail. Just want to be quite clear with residents, does this study impact residents' insurance premiums since with us coming out with this?
Indirectly, there may be an influence on that, but it won't be through this. That would probably be through the planning process, which is informed by the plan itself. So this actually was a data collection and modelling exercise, which was done in parallel with the new planning scheme. So from an insurance perspective, the zoning and the planning scheme is what's generally looked at. There has been instances, and we do share information in terms of those models with insurance companies, because it's the best and most up-to-date data. However, it's down to the individual insurance companies as to whether they adjust premiums. We've got no influence on that.
At a previous briefing, I asked the exact same question. I got a very different answer.
And what was
I was told that the insurance companies had access to this information for 2.5 years, I think, or 2 years, and they've already adjusted it. So I guess just asking for clarification.
No, that's
what. Yeah, just so yeah.
No, that's sorry.
So my understanding wasn't if there was a raise in premiums, it wasn't due to council's work. It was we were accessing modelling work that's already been done.
That's right, but that modelling was probably done by council. So council has the most up-to-date models. So you're right in that account, Mayor. The insurance companies, as I understand, and I don't work for the insurance companies, but they collect all data that's available, and council's models are the most up-to-date as far as I'm aware. They also have the ability to do their own modelling. So that the modelling that has been done over the last 2 years is accessible to those insurance companies. So yes, in that regard. Is that clear? I'm sorry for that.
I guess I'll seek clarification before the ordinary council meeting, because that is the opposite to what I was told before.
So it'd be good to clear it up here if we could through the chair.
Yeah.
Yes.
My understanding, if I could ask, is that the state have access to the modelling, and that's what the insurance companies were using, and we're leveraging off that?
The state? I'm not sure whether they will have access to this once it's cleared, but the state haven't made any requests to access those models. The state have, I'm not sure the state have a role in the insurance companies.
Right. Okay.
Just through you, Chair, there's been a lot of the use of the word the models when we're talking about the models. What exactly are you referring to, Matt?
Oh, well, I guess what
Our models, the models that are showcased within the report, or
yeah, through the information that I had asked about was the information that we're tapping into was not new information. How we're collating it is a different. Obviously, modelling is different, but the information that we were tapping into was information that the insurance companies had access to for a couple of years. That's how my interpretation of what was how it was briefed.
So we did a lot of modelling to inform this. So council did model. Council, and again, this is probably a question for the hydrologists in terms of how frequently we do that. But council updates our flood models on an annual basis and in different areas. The first step in this process was to make sure that all those models were up to date and accurate as possible. Okay. That was to inform further actions and the investment perspective. Okay. So it's making sure we've got the best data that we have at the time. That actually built on the Brisbane River Strategic Floodplain strategy that was developed with ourselves and some other councils, which again was a huge modelling exercise and modelled most of the Brisbane River, of which Ipswich City Council is influenced, areas are influenced of, that did leave a gap for places like the Bremer, which was filled by our own modelling. Now that modelling data, as far as I'm aware, is available. We've had no requests through the planning scheme, and through this document will be the first time that's published.
Okay.
Is that?
Will council be doing any other work to find out? I mean, this could have a big thing. I know when information came out a couple of years ago out at Carralee, there was insurance premiums did go up around Mount Crosby and Carralee. So it's a big thing for our residents if they're paying more money on their insurance because of work that we're doing. So will council be doing any work in that area?
In terms of working with the household, I suppose the intent of collecting that data and that whole intent of the IICP and the recommendations is to mitigate flood risk to residents. The information we've collected as part of the flood models will help us inform that. Now, if we are able to do that, then there is just as likely as the impacts to insurance premiums go down as well as up if we're able to mitigate that risk. So yes, that information will be made available to the insurance companies, as will any kind of mitigation that we put in place. We are continuing to engage with residents as part of this, and as we move forwards to the implementation stage, community engagement will be a huge part of that. Now, really, that's all I can say in terms of I can't talk on behalf of how the insurance companies choose to use any data that's available.
Again, Chair, may I ask, with the Queensland Flood Commission inquiry that occurred, obviously we're not the only LGA that's dealing with this. Where are the other, just say South East Queensland councils with theirs, and have you seen what the impact has been to their insurance premiums?
I haven't. I can take that on notice and certainly find out. In terms of how they're moving forwards, the recommendation for local floodplain management plans, so the LFMPs, of which this will stand to be ours, we're probably at a similar space, if not slightly, well, we were probably slightly ahead, we're now probably slightly behind in terms of developing that plan, and then the implementations thereof. I think the difference being that this plan is far larger and more encompassing and probably more detailed than what was required through the Flood Commission inquiry. We've gone one step further, but we do continually feed data back to the QRA, who are doing some audits on that, as well as the other state agencies that are following up on the recommendations of the Commission of Inquiry.
And what's their advice been to us?
They're generally happy with the progress that we've made thus far. Nothing specific around kind of insurance and how we move forward in that space, or in regards to everyone else. But yeah, generally they've been very happy. We have had really good feedback, as I say, from other councils, both locally and regionally, on the approach we've taken here, especially from that integrated risk management approach. And the work that we've done in that risk space was a bit of a front runner, and I know that some of the councils have picked that up as a template to use, especially in the planning side of things. So yeah, generally I think we're probably ahead of the game, if anything.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that for me. It's very important. Thank you.
Any further questions for Mr. Smith? No? Thank you. Any further questions at all? Any members wish to ask? No? Then the recommendation is in two parts. A, that Council adopt the Ipswich Integrated Catchment Plan and associated technical report and studies as the primary strategic local floodplain management plan, as recommended by the Queensland Flood Commission of Inquiry and the Brisbane River Strategic Floodplain Management Plan. And B, that Council develop an implementation and investment plan that identifies current and future funding requirements for the implementation of the Ipswich Integrated Catchment Plan actions and seek to identify funding sources in future operational and capital budgets and/or external grants. Do I have a mover? Oh, pardon me. I don't have it on my run sheet, I'm sorry. It's Councillor
Milligan's from earlier, if the committee recalls.
The correction? Correction.
Oh, beg my pardon, yes. That in relation to item 4, the executive summary be amended to change the wording. The IICP includes an actions list investment strategy with 72 recommendations to. The IICP includes an actions list investment strategy with 68 recommendations. Do I have a mover? Councillor Fechner, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Kunzmann. I'll open the matter for discussion. Mayor Harding.
For me, I'm just wanting to, I guess, highlight, I think we just have to look at this because this information may impact people's insurance premiums. We do need to be open and transparent, but we need to be really aware. Like I said a couple of years ago when some other information was released, I know people around Mount Crosby and Carralee were very concerned, and yeah, I just need to think, I wouldn't mind having a follow-up on that as well.
Sure. From my perspective, the work that is contained and the detail that is contained within the IICP is there for the purpose of informing council and community for very specific reasoning. The other things that occur afterwards, due to more accurate information being released to the public realm, is of due course, and that is probably something that council cannot be responsible for or affect. Any further discussion? Councillor Fechner.
Yeah, I speak in favour of the adoption of this report, and just want to again highlight the amount of work that's gone into this, and that the officers should be congratulated for what is a long haul and what is now being regarded as some of the best work in this space across the country. It's absolutely amazing. Lots of the breadth in the technicalities of this paper is beyond me in so many ways, and I'm not going to shy away from saying that. But I do understand that council's consultants, when it comes to town planning, have been using this data in terms of the flood modelling that we've done, and we've had one of those sessions with the consultant. So, you know, this work goes a long way to inform how we manage flood risk in our new planning scheme, which is really at the forefront of all of our minds, because it's a big chunk of work that we need to do for our city. Just speaking to the insurance premium discussion this afternoon, I think it's the previous planning scheme amendment may have gone a long way to inform the increases previously, and I guess, you know, it's up to us, you know, what we decide to include as our flood risk, what we decide to zone and rezone in our planning scheme will be the ultimate decider of those things. I don't believe that lots of this information is of a big secret to anyone, and there's lots of professionals out there who have done similar modelling to this, from my understanding. So I don't think we need to hit the red button in that way. I don't share a similar concern, but I look forward to using this work to inform as we trudge ahead with the development of our new planning scheme. And it's a shame that Ms. Kavanagh couldn't be here to celebrate, hopefully, this committee, you know, pushing forward to adopt this wonderful report. And thanks, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Councillor Fechner. Yes, again, through you, CEO, very much commend our technical staff, and we are very appreciative of the high skill level and appetite for doing the hard work to achieve outcomes such as this, and for this to be recognised within the greater realm for what it is, shows the calibre and quality of our people. That is what council does. This council strives to deliver service in the best possible way. So if you could please pass that through.
Thank you, Chair.
If there's no further discussion, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Unanimous and carried. Item 5 is the Franklin Vale Creek Catchment Restoration Plan 2021 to 2026. This is a report concerning the development of the Franklin Vale Creek Catchment Restoration Plan 2021 to 2026. As in Attachment 1, the plan was developed by the Australian River Institute and Griffith University in collaboration with council staff and landholders within the catchment. The purpose of the plan is to guide the delivery of future projects as part of the Franklin Vale Creek Catchment Initiative. Projects are funded through Council's Stormwater Quality Offsets program. Does any member of committee wish to ask any questions of Council Officer? No? And moving to the recommendation, it is in two parts. I'll check the screen. Yes, I'm correct. A, that the Franklin Vale Creek Catchment Restoration Plan 2021 to 2026 be received and noted. And B, that Council's partnership with the Australian Rivers Institute and Griffith University be perpetuated through the participation and collaboration of student internships and research programs, when required, in association with the Franklin Vale Creek Initiative. Do I have a mover? Councillor Madsen, seconder, Councillor Fechner. I'll open the matter for discussion. Councillor Madsen.
I'll just make the brief comment that any work on our waterways like this is just really cool, and the outcomes are great for the environment, and just as a general rule, very supportive of these initiatives.
Yes, absolutely. And I'd like to commend all stakeholders, not just council, but also the landholders in the upper catchment, and that it not only benefits on the ground just there, but further down throughout the system. This is the good work that is being undertaken right throughout our catchments, and to be able to work in collaboration and partnership with the Australian River Institute and Griffith University is only bolsters that even further. Any further comments? No? Then I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Unanimous and carried. They're all the officers' reports so far. There are no notices of motion and no matters arising. I declare the meeting closed at 1:36, and the next committee will commence at 1:46. Thank you.